All right, YouTube, Repo Man 64. I've been working on Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Numbers all morning, and I wanted to present something to you. For the longest time, so the timeline hasn't changed, but I went through Numbers and Leviticus, and I really wanted to determine when events took place. I always thought, made many videos on it, that Jesus rises on Sunday. He disappears for 7 days, and then he performs a wave sheaf offering. But I'm not seeing that in Leviticus. As I go back and restudy it very closely, I'm seeing that Jesus rises, and that morning he rises, he disappears, but he returns to the road to Emmaus. And during that time he left is when I think he did the wave sheaf offering. This is not the two breads. This is the wave sheaf. This is the barley. It's a wave sheaf. It's not the I forget what they is it the Omer where they waved the two loaves on Pentecost. So again, I went back, restudied. I've been doing this all morning, going through everything that I can find, and uh, based on what I can see, May 14th comes up again. Uh, when Jesus walks with man for 40, I heard this on another YouTube, and I kind of discounted it, but I remembered it, stored it in the back of my head that there were 3 days he appeared, technically walking with man. As a matter of fact, we see him walking with man on the road to Emmaus. He goes in, he acted like, oh, I'm going to keep walking. But they said, no, no, they pressed him hard. No, come in. You got to eat with us and relax. He sits down, eats with them, and disappears right in front of them. Then what does he do next? 1 week later, he reappears through a locked door to Thomas in the upper room. Then he disappears again. When does he reappear? He reappears on the shore with bread and fish, yet 7 days later. So I said, well, I think the 40 days are contiguous. They're gonna they from beginning to end. But then I got to thinking, why would it say that he walked with them on the road to Emmaus? I'm like, if we count the day that Jesus rose and they saw him, walks on the road to Emmaus, if we count the day that Thomas in the upper room and he disappears in front of them, we don't see that him disappearing uh, after he walked with them on the road to Emmaus. And we don't see him we do see him disappearing in with Thomas in the upper room, but then 7 days later he's on the shore with bread and fish. If those 3 days counted, and the total count is 40, 37 more days. When I do that, it lands on May 14th. And I always wondered, and I've said this many times too, why May 14th? What is the significance of May 14th? Well, I found an 11/11 event, meaning that a period of time before counts up to this date, and a period of time after counts to another date. And so May 14th is that date. That's Ascension Day. I didn't know it was Ascension Day until I sat down and went through this very carefully. So let's share this window here. I'll show you real quick. Like I said, I have an appointment I have to get to. Running late, but I wanted to put this out here real quick and show it to you. So of course, I built a timeline, and I went through Leviticus 23, 9 through 11, Exodus 12, 14, Deuteronomy 16, and Leviticus 23, 4 through 8. I went through all of this, and I'm going to show it to you in the Bible, but I want to point out some things that happen here. This is Joshua and Jesus, both of them the triumphant entry. This happens on Nisan 10, what I call March 16th. I start the year here on March 16th. Here on March 26th is the triumphant entry 10 days later. From the triumphant entry, 7 days later, this is a Sunday. The triumphant entry was a Sunday. To Jesus rising is a Sunday. Jesus went to the cross on a Wednesday. So 3.5 days, 84 hours, Jesus rises. 3.5 days, 84 hours is the wave sheaf offering. Or sorry, from 3.5 days from the triumphant entry, which is 4 days. We call it the 4 days on the thing, but it's March 30th and then April 3rd. which is the day he rises on April the 3rd on Nissan 18. Sorry. So I'm reading the Bible and I see this date popping up, Nissan 21. And I'm like, what in the world? What does Nissan 21 have to do with anything? So I went through and studied it all. It appears that 84 hours after Jesus rises, he makes three appearances for a total of 3 days or 3.5 days. And I haven't gone into the study of the what is stated as far as when Jesus did appear then before sunrise on Sunday. When we see him disappear, it's very late in the evening. And so I'm thinking it is 3.5 days again. Those 84 hours keep jumping up. So we have Wednesday, we have Sunday, we have Wednesday, and we have Sunday. We have a palindrome. We have uh, something that equals out. So if we take and apply these three appearances, the day he rises, Thomas in the upper room, him on the shore with bread and fish, and we bring it down here and call this 3 days right here, which also matches from the cross over to this point here, 7 days, and then go 37 days. It lands on May 14th at sunset. Remember, Israel became a nation. I thought it was in New York, but I went back and restudied. It was in Israel just prior to midnight on May 14th, which made it May 15th for them. We call it May 14th because we're 7 to 10 hours earlier than Israel. So for us, it would have been 7 to 10. It would have been 5 o'clock in the afternoon to 2 o'clock in the afternoon, depending on where you are in the United States. But for them, it was just prior to midnight. That is a solid count. And now that uh, something symmetrical lines up with May 14th, now that it lines up, it's hard to ignore that May 14th might in fact be the rapture day. It is Ascension Day. We saw him go up into the clouds, just like Spinebreaker was telling me. We see him go up into the clouds. It's very relevant that we would also see him in the clouds as we are raptured. This date is literally 9 days from now. I just now figured all of this out. Again, I saw it before, but I didn't see it. And now I'm seeing it. So let me go through the evidence for all this. Remember, from the triumphant entry to the wave sheaf offering, which is the day Jesus rises, you count 50 days, and Pentecost is a 2 loaf wave offering. This happens on May 22nd, if counted this way. I always added those extra 7 days. I think I made a mistake. But I think a lot is being revealed here in these last days, the desire to actually go in and really set it down on a timeline. And so for that, I will present this and you can take a look at it. I had these 1, 2, 3 days here added to the 37 days for a total of 40 days. The 40 days would have commenced here on April the 7th, which is Nissan 21, which we see in the Bible. I always like, why is Nissan 21 showing up there? It's because it's 7 days from the Exodus, it appears, but we read it in a different fashion in the Bible. I'll show that to you right now. We read it in a different fashion from the day Jesus was crucified, 7 days, which he is the Passover, and this is the end of unleavened bread, Nissan 21. Why? And when I kept seeing these 3 days, 3 days, I showed this to you before. I showed you these 3 days. They were confusing me. They were in there. I mentioned it, looking for anybody to help that might understand those 3 days. Let me see if I can get back here. Right here. I'll show you where my mistake was. Or I believe my mistake. Jesus is on the cross. I'm sorry, Jesus is in the grave for 3 days, 3.5 days, 84 hours. Then we have 7 days to Thomas in the upper room. This is where I thought that he did the wave sheaf offering of the barley. But in fact, when I went back and restudied, he does the wave sheaf offering on the day he rises. He disappears there. He tells Mary, "Don't touch me, for I've not ascended to my Father." He ascends that day. I think he has to wait for 7 days, but the more I read and studied, the more I realized he has to do that wave sheaf offering on that day. And the reason is because when he disappears on the road to Emmaus, that's this day, he's already done the wave sheaf offering. They can already touch him. And he disappears in front of their sight and he reappears to Thomas in the upper room in a locked door. Disappears again and he reappears here on a Sunday. Each one of these are a Sunday. He reappears here on the shore with bread and fish. It's very early in the morning. They've been out all night fishing. They didn't go out until sunset on Saturday, which became Sunday, which allowed them to go out and do work. Couldn't do any servile work on a Sabbath. They go out Sunday morning. Jesus shows up. He's on the shore with bread and fish. We have the correct count now for Jesus. But what I did was I added in this 40 days as though it were 7, 7, and 3. But when I take it out and say 1, 2, 3, and add 37 days, it falls right here on May 14th, which I just showed you. All right, let me go forward here. What time is it? I got to get going here soon. I just wanted to present. I'm going to go live here a little later to show all of this and we can discuss it. But in the meantime, you can study this, Exodus 12:16. And in the first day, there shall be a holy convocation. And in the seventh day, there shall be a holy convocation. That's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It begins on Sunday and ends on Sunday. No manner of work shall be done in them, save that which every man must eat, that only may be done of you. So you don't work on that Sunday. You don't work on this Sunday. He's setting up the new Sabbath. The new Sabbath now falls on Sunday. It does not fall on Saturday anymore. The first day there shall be a holy convocation, and ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread. In the self same day I brought your armies out of Egypt. We know that they were brought out on the 15th. We get a little confused with that. Jesus did go to the cross on the 14th, but on the 15th is when he went to Hades, when he began to lead captivity captive. On the cross, he said it is finished at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. By 6 p.m. that evening, he's in the grave. He's in there until Sunday morning at 3 a.m. And in the first month, and on the 14th day of the month, at even, we always see this at even because it's actually the 15th at even. So we have the 15th through the 21st. Ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 1 and 20th day. That was always confusing to me on my timeline, but now I understand it, why it's there. Leviticus 23, 4. And in the 14th day of the first month at even, the 15th, on the 15th, that's right there. And on the 15th day of the same month, in the Feast of Unleavened Bread, this is very important. God is going over this in redundancy in Exodus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and Leviticus to make us understand that the wave sheaf offering actually happened when he rises, and then you count 3.5 days, and you wind up on the 21st, on the 14th day of the first month at even, the 15th day of the same month, the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and the Lord 7 days you'll eat unleavened bread. He goes through this over and over and over again, ad nauseum, for us to understand. He does this from the 15th to the 21st, 15th to 21st. He does this, and then this kind of gets snuck in there, which is why I realized that there's two 84-hour counts. There's an 84-hour count from when Jesus went to the cross to when he rises, but there's another 84 count from when he rises to the 21st. And here we see, the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, speaking unto the children, he throws a curveball in here. He throws a curveball in here in Leviticus 23:10. Speak unto the children of Israel, say unto them, when ye come into the land which I give you. When did they come into the land? Well, they came into the land on March 26th. That's when Joshua entered the promised land. Even I, got confused about this, thinking this must be when they left Egypt. It's not. This is when they went into the promised land. Now, because of this verse, it is no longer the 15th and the 21st. It is the 26th and the 3rd of Iyar. It's the 26th of Nisan, the 3rd of Iyar. It is 7 days separated, so we get confused. This is a sheaf offering. This is not the 2 loaves. This is a sheaf offering. When you come into the land which I give unto you, you shall reap the harvest thereof. Then ye shall bring the sheaf of first fruits unto your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you in the morrow after the Sabbath. And that's, honestly, I make mistakes, and I made a mistake. I really thought it was the same day that he saw Thomas in the upper room. But the more I studied this, the more I realized it's the same day he rises. He rises Sunday morning, says, "Don't touch me, for I've not ascended to the Father." He ascends to the Father. Now imagine he pulled some barley. He ascends. He does the wave sheaf offering. He gives his body as a sacrifice, his blood as a sacrifice for all of us. Then he returns that afternoon and catches up to them on the road to Emmaus. On the road to Emmaus, they're all talking. They don't recognize who he is yet because now he's all cleaned up. He's got his how would you say his heavenly body, right? He's no longer earthly, he's heavenly. And they're walking, they finally recognize who he is. They said, or actually, I think they walk with him and they press him to come on inside and eat. It's late in the afternoon. I would imagine it's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He goes in, he eats with them, and poof, as soon as he tells them, this is the bread and the wine, and they're like, oh, wait a second, you're Jesus. And then he disappears in front of them. So here we have, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted for you. He did it for you. That's what he did this. Jesus didn't do it for himself. Well, he did it for himself. He wanted a people for himself, but he did it to cover our sins. And on the morrow after the Sabbath, that's the Sunday that Jesus rises. He rises on the third day. He rises on Ayar 3. Is that right? Nisan Ayar. He rises on Ayar 3. Let me make sure that's correct. I'm pretty sure that's the right April. No. Did I do that right? Hold on 1 second. Jesus, right? Yeah. No, Nissan 18. What am I saying? I've been saying IR 3 this whole time. It's Nissan 18, April the 3rd. Okay, this is Gregorian dates. The 26th is the day that is Nissan 10. This is the day that they cross over into the promised land, just like it says here when you come into the land, March 26th, and then April 3rd is the day he rose. This is Gregorian dates here. Okay, so we go forward. It goes back to, as we continue studying, Numbers 28, and the 14th day of the first month is the Passover. God continues to remind them over and over and over, but he throws a curveball in back here. He's not counting from that. He's counting from when they came into the land. It's a totally different count, which is what threw me, honestly, all these years. That threw me, and then I understood. He's pointing to the day Jesus rises. He rises on the 3rd. He rises on April the 3rd, which is Nissan 18. So uh, we continue to study, and we see that on the 15th again and the 21st, throughout 7 days, he keeps talking about these 7 days, 7 days, 7 days. And then when we do the math, Deuteronomy 16, thou shalt eat no leavened bread 7 days, thou shalt eat unleavened bread. Then coast 7 days. It keeps going on with the concept, or the telling us that it is from the cross on Nisan 14 at sunset, which is Nisan 15, to April the 3rd, which is 3 o'clock in the morning when he rises. And so we go through this over and over. But when I saw that, I said, wait a second, why is he counting from when the triumphant entry? Why is he counting from there? And then I see symmetry in this study, and I see that because of this symmetry, I have to recognize that from the Exodus, it just said 7 days right here. It would be, sorry, from the triumphant entry right here. I said Exodus. From the triumphant entry right here, 7 days, we land here on the day Jesus rises. But from the cross, 7 days later, we land here, and we see two different verses in the Bible that tell us Nisan 21. Why is it offset by 84 hours? I never noticed this before. 84 hours is the 3 appearances of Jesus on those 3 days. 1, 2, 3, 3 days. And then 37 days. When you add it to those 3 days, I should have put 3 days here, from April the 7th, 37 days, it lands on May 14th at sunset, becoming May 15th. And this is the day that is panning out more and more to Ascension Day. You can go in and do the study for yourself. Of course, if you start the year on March 17th, like I do, March 16th being the last day of the year and count forward, that's the only real way to get to May 14th. I wondered for so long, why May 14th? Why May 14th? And I noticed that there is a verse in the Bible that says 4 months, and but the field, the harvest will be ready in 4 months. But I tell you, look up, it's ready already. This is exactly 4 months from the Feast of Trumpets. So this day, May 14th, is really shaping up to be a very high watch day. I personally suspect that the closer we get to this high watch day, we're going to see things unfold like birth pangs. It's going to, like those earthquakes that went off. That was insane. But we're going to see, just like birth pangs, and we're going to see all the threats from around the world. And we're all like, why haven't you pushed the button? You said you're going to do this. Oh, I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to do that to you. Nobody's actually pushed the button. They are being restrained. They cannot push the button, not while we're still here. They might be able to push it on the day we go so they can cover this up. But currently, they can't push that button. So, right here, May 14th is turning up. I would suspect, and this is just me suspecting, honestly, when I call out a high watch day and we get up to that high watch day and there's nothing going on in the world, I really begin to believe that this high watch day is going to pass. Similarly, I will do the same thing for May 14th. If we don't see something huge on May the 7th or May the 11th, um, 3 or 7 day prior warning, I would suspect that we're going to go on to Pentecost, the day the Holy Spirit was given on May 22nd. I redid that count too, and it said from the way if I accept the fact that Jesus did the wave sheaf offering on the day he rises, and not 7 days later. The only reason I went those 7 days is because we see those 7 days, uh, two periods of 7 days from when Jesus rises to Thomas in the upper room to him on the shore with bread and fish, and to me, it was symmetrical. It matched. But the more I read and the more I study, the more I realize that uh, he's pointing out those 3 days as a part of these 40 days. And we got 1, 2, 3 days that he does appear. He rises, Thomas in the upper room on the shore with bread and fish. Um, I will be back. I got to run an errand, but I will be back, and I'll sit down live with everyone, and we can go over this. And if you can find anything to contradict this, I will be happy to entertain whatever it is you find, and we'll take a look at it. At this point, going back through these verses here in the Bible, in Leviticus, Exodus, Deuteronomy, and again in Leviticus, going back through it, I have to wonder why even mention this, and why would the wave sheaf offering appear on this day. And I realize that's when the wave sheep offering happened. And it is 84 hours later, Jesus rises. And then we have those 84 hours from when Jesus rises. Oh, I'm sorry, he rises over here. He rises here, but then we have 84 hours after this 7 days that we see the cross, 7 days of unleavened bread. And it tells us specifically it's Nisan 21. It's very specific. It says it. So from Nisan 18 to Nisan 21, 3.5 days. So we have two periods of 84 hours on either side of this. The line's not right in the center, but it's 84 and 84. So symmetry is very important. What do they say? Prophecy is numbers is prophecy, or something like that. So all right, anyway, let me get out of here. Let me go do what I got to do. I'll come back and address this with everybody in a live, and ask questions, and let's take a look at it. If you can pre-study that and say, yeah, it's weird how it's always from the cross to Thomas in the upper room, except for this one verse here in Leviticus. It's from the crossing over in the land up to the cross. Very confusing, but not if you put it on a timeline. You can see it. All right, we will chat with you all again in a little while.